A trip of some 189.2 kilometres going south and then eastwards from Saint-Ouen-Mortran to Clermont-Ferrand, both places familiar to those who follow the Tour de France. 2 steep mountain climbs to go over on the way, counting towards the King of the Mountains competition. The weather, well, some showers forecast later in the afternoon. In fact, it was actually a rather damp start for some of the riders. You see some of them wearing their racing capes over their team jerseys. Well, an early crash after only about 20 kilometres put out Joseba Belocchi, who was on the podium at the finish of the Tour de France in Paris last July. Sadly, he had to go to hospital for a checkup, and it wasn't long before we had an attack by number 78 Tossato, the rider you just saw there, who was shortly after that caught up by Sabaliauskas, number 146. And these 2 riders quickly gained a big lead, with the Cofidis team mainly on the front, attempting to limit the losses of the peloton, the main group on the 2 escapees up front. The riders cautiously not riding too close together in the somewhat damp conditions, giving themselves a little more breathing space. And there we see the Cofidis team all at or near the front of the main bunch, making sure that those 2 boys up the road don't get too far ahead as the race progresses towards its finish in Clermont-Ferrand. Now, this is Axel Merckx coming out. He's wearing the jersey of the Belgian champion, the son of the great Eddy Merckx, 5 times winner of the Tour de France and winner of more professional races than any other man in racing's history. Merckx, the son, that is, really coming good last year with a stage victory in the Giro d'Italia, the Tour of Italy, but he didn't last very long. He quickly went back to the pack, and meantime, up front, Tossato decided to get rid of Sabaliauskas, seemingly looking quite strong as he got near to the finish. Sabaliauskas, on the other hand, looking a little bit tired. Still the Cofidis boys controlling things at the head of affairs as they get ever nearer to the stage finish. Well, eventually, Tossato too coming back to the peloton, so the Cofidis boys had clearly done their job quite well. Now, this is Team Coast. It's a German outfit in the yellow and black, and that's Nicky Eberschold, who's coming out on a counter-attack, a new attack from him, and taking one of the Fassa Bortolo, the Italian team, with him. That's Nicola Loda. But this was an attack that never got too far ahead, as once again the Cofidis boys behind did their level best to keep the pace high and ensure that breaks didn't get too far in front. Now getting very close to the outskirts of Clermont-Ferrand. And look how those roads are still very damp from the earlier rain. Oh, and what did I just say about the roads being damp? One rider losing his back wheel on that left-hander, and suddenly absolute chaos. There must be 20, maybe even 30 riders down there, and they're very close to the stage finish. The race goes on, of course. They've got to just make the best of it. Meantime, those who've survived and escaped the crash coming into the home straight. And a good lead out for the Australian Stuart O'Grady for Crédit Agricole in the green and white jersey. But there's the Lotto rider from Belgium in red, Fabien Doela, coming on his left-hand shoulder. Is it going to be O'Grady for Australia, or is it going to be Doela for Lotto? It's going to be so close, but it's the Lotto man, Fabien Doela, who just nicks it from O'Grady, recent winner of the Tour Down Under in Australia, based on his hometown in Adelaide. Second time for 3 years, but look how close it was. The Australian just missing out. And it's the Lotto man, Doela, taking that one and looking pretty pleased with himself. Well, those who escaped the crash all came in together. A lot of riders lost time, some were injured, but Doela getting the stage victory, the first road stage in this Paris-Nice 2001. Again, the victory celebrations and confirmation of the top 3 of general classification, and O'Grady getting a stage bonus for finishing second. Did a good time trial in the prologue, moving up to second place behind this man, Nico Matin, still the overall leader after 2 days of this edition of Paris-Nice.